Hello, students. Welcome to Experiment Club Virtual Edition 2020. So, we find ourselves in an interesting situation and we are not able to meet right now, but I still really wanted to keep connected with you guys and give you some options for things that you can continue to do to invest in your science knowledge and activities at home. And so, what we're going to be doing is once a week, I will be sending you a video with instructions and reinforcement and some new knowledge for you in different areas of science that we could have or would have done in class, but now we're finding ways around that so we can still learn during this time. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is Edmodo. So, edmodo.com or the Edmodo app for your smartphone is a parent student teacher communication tool that we can utilize during this time to chat, to ask questions, to do quizzes, for me to post resources for you guys. So I sent it out in an email last week for you guys to join that. But what you can do is go to edmodo.com or download the Edmodo app, and you're going to set up a student account, and your parents can also set up a parent account. And after you set up your account, it's very, very simple. It will take a minute or two. You're going to be asked if you want to join a class. And when you want to, when they ask if you want to do that, you're going to type in this code. It's A4KHHS, and it'll automatically take you to my classroom page that I have set up for you guys. So it's important that you do that, again, because you'll get the most out of this time if you do. All right, next. The first thing that I want you guys to do today, or when you watch the video, is to do your bread lab. So the bread lab is what we started in class 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we're going to be able to continue that lab through this time because I will be sending out pictures to each of you of your bread samples. I went down to the avenue today and I picked those up, so I have them at my house now, so hopefully they don't get too stinky. But in the email, I sent out the file for you guys to print out to continue taking notes for your lab. If for some reason you don't have a printer or you're out of ink or whatever, you can still complete this by just using a piece of paper and a pen. And so remember, this is what our lab sheet looks like. So our observations for week 3, or week 4 is what we're going to call it because we missed last week, which would have been week 3. And so what you're going to do is you're going to list all the names of your samples that you had. Remember, we had a control, we had a dirty hands, we had a clean hands, and then some people did some different ones. We did a desk, some people did the toilet, some people did the cell phone, some people did the air conditioner. And so you're going to list out what your samples are, and you're going to write down what you see happening. Now, most of them still don't have anything happening, but I do sense that it will be soon because there is a growing smell coming from them. So I wanted to highlight a couple of the interesting ones so you guys could see as a class. This is Olivia's choice. I don't remember which one she did, if it was her shoe or the desk or the door handle, but this is Olivia's choice. This is Elijah's boogers. So you can see his hasn't really progressed much from what we saw in class last time, has it? And then Izzy's, 2 of Izzy's are doing really well. This is her desk. So something was on her part of the desk that got on that bread and is causing a lot of bacterial growth. And then this is Izzy's dirt. So you can see it's growing and it's different colors. Caleb's dirt is going really well. His is probably the most covered and colorful that we have, even more so than Elijah's boogers. And then Austin, actually his air conditioning unit one is getting some interesting color on both sides. So you can see that's probably the dust that he collected, but you can see there's some orange mold or bacteria growing on the surface of the bread there. So step 1 for virtual class today is going to be to take the picture that I send you and to record your observations for each of your bread samples, and then put those in a safe place so that when we come back together, hopefully in the beginning of May, we can compile those in our lab journals so that you have a really nice sample to turn into your HSTs or for you to show your moms and dads at the end of our class period of a long-term science experiment that we did together. And remember, I will be, since I'm taking pictures of them still, I will be printing those out for you to include on your lab observation sheets. All right, so today our new lab is going to be on parachutes and if the size of parachutes matter in the rate at which the parachute falls to the ground. So our video today from your teacher, me, Mrs. Ron, is going to be a two-part video. So today we're going to talk a little bit about parachutes and the supplies that you need, and then I'm going to give you some time to perform those experiments, and then I will be posting a follow-up video tomorrow with my version of the experiment and then some feedback and some answering of some questions for those parachutes. And then remember too, on Edmodo we'll be able to discuss what we've seen. And so I'll have a lab sheet for you that's in that email. So it has a bunch of information on it. We'll go through this step by step in a minute. All right, but what you're going to need are some supplies, and those are listed in the email as well. You'll need paper, pencil. Again, if you don't have a printer or ink, you don't have to have this lab sheet. You can use the email file that I send you, and you can write it out on paper yourself. You don't have to have a printed one. Printed one may make it a little easier, but I know that supplies and finances are tough right now because of the situation. So you'll need paper, a writing utensil, some pens or markers, a heavyweight black trash bag. Heavyweight black trash bag. If you don't have a heavyweight black trash bag, you can also look through like not reusable, but grocery bags maybe, or kitchen trash bags, or just some sort of plastic that you might have around your house. You're going to need a ruler with centimeters on it, some scissors, some string. You can use any kind of string. You could even use sewing thread if you don't have any string. And then you need either washers, nuts, or pennies. And so you can use either of those, and I'll talk through that as well. And then if you use pennies, you'll probably need some tape, and then you need a timer. A fun extension of this might be to take some videos, and you could even do on your smartphones. A lot of them have slow-mo videos, so we can talk about some extensions and some other fun things that you can do with this. But those are the supplies that you'll need, okay? And so the first thing that you're going to do is take your black trash bag, okay? And you're going to cut the seam off of it at the bottom and then cut it open so that you can open it up and use the most of the material that you can. And the first sample that you're going to be making, we're going to be doing 4 different sized parachutes, okay? And so you're going to cut out a 20 by 20 square of your black trash bag. Now, 20 by 20 centimeters, okay? And so if you're using a standard ruler, one side that we're used to using here in the United States, the U.S. customary system standard measurement is inches, okay? The rest of the world uses the metric system. And so if you've ever wondered what the difference is, these are your inches, goes from 1 to 12. Our rulers are standard a foot, right? 12 inches is a foot. And then on the other side, you have all these small numbers. It goes from 1 to 30. And these are centimeters, okay? And so there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch, if you ever wonder. But we are going to cut our first sample at 20 by 20, okay? So 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. The next one will be 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. Next one, 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters. Then 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, okay? So you're going to have 4 different sized parachutes, okay? And so what you're going to do is on each corner, you're going to take your baggie and you're going to tie it in a knot, okay? And that's going to give us a place for us to attach our string. So here's my knot, okay? So I already did it in my other 4 sides, on my other 4 sides. And then you're going to cut 4 pieces of string for each corner that is 40 centimeters long. Now, your standard ruler is only going to be 30 centimeters, so you're going to have to measure out 30 centimeters, mark it, and then add How many more? How do we get from 30 to 40? That's right, 10. Okay, so 30 and then 10. And then I found it much easier if you do your loop for your knot first, okay? And then slip it over the knot that you've made on your trash bag, like so. And what I'm gonna do 2 knots. I'm gonna do a double knot like I would maybe do on my shoelaces because I want it to stay real nice. So this is what it's gonna look like, okay? You have your square with the knots, then you have your strings and they're hanging down. And then you're gonna hold the center of your trash bag parachute and you're gonna pull your string down so that they're equal, okay? And then if you have washers are round metal things that go in between to help with expansion and stuff. If you have washers, ask your mom or dad, that would be great. If not, what you're gonna do is you're gonna tie a knot once you've got all your strings equidistant from the parachute. You're gonna tie a knot in the 4 of them, okay? So that it's equal, okay? And then you can tape pennies to the bottom of this, 2 to 3 pennies. Whatever you do to one of your parachutes, though, you want to do to all 4 of them, okay? So if you do 2 pennies on your 20 centimeter, you want to do 2 pennies on your 30 centimeter, and so on and so forth. I actually bought these little nuts, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie 3 of these. I'm going to attach 3 of these to each of my parachutes by, sorry, that's gross, but slipping it through on 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, okay? And then I'm gonna take another one of my strings and I'm gonna tie a double or triple knot. This is gonna give my parachute a little bit of weight so that it falls a little bit better when I drop it, okay? So here's my first sample. Now you're gonna wanna do this again, 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters, and 50 centimeter squares. So you're gonna have 4 parachutes, okay? So go ahead and get those done and then set them aside, okay? And here's our lab sheet. Our lab sheet is titled Parachutes. Woo! The question, okay? Does surface area affect the rate of the parachute falling to the earth? Now, surface area is the area that something covers, okay? And we find, does anyone know how to find area? Can I hear you? That's right. We find area by calculating our length times our width, okay? So one of the questions that you'll see on your procedure is to calculate the surface area. All right, and so I want you to write the surface area next to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 20 by 20 will be 1, 30 by 30 will be 2, 40 by 40 will be 3, 50 by 50 will be 4. So if we multiply 20 by 20, what do we get? That's right, 400 centimeters, okay? And then you're going to multiply 30 by 30, 40 by 40, 50 by 50, and that's how many square centimeters you get for your surface area, all right? And so then what you're going to do once those are all calculated, you're going to write out your question, which is, does surface area affect the rate of falling? Sorry if I already said that. Then you're going to go through and you're going to define these words, okay? You get a little bit of homework. Homeschoolers have homework, right? So you're going to define what a parachute is, what gravity is, what air resistance is, what drag is, and what surface area is, which we talked about a little bit because I wanted to make sure that you completely understood that. Now, after we've done those things, we want to write out our hypothesis, okay? Remember, our hypothesis is our educated guess. So you're going to write down what you think is going to happen in this experiment. If you think that the larger, the middle, the small, if it's all going to be the same, if the rate of falling is going to be consistent, inconsistent, anything that you can think of that might be the outcome of this experiment, okay? Then, if you have a 2-story house, you're lucky because hopefully you can just drop your parachutes from your first story to your second story. Now note, if your parents have nice wood floors or something and you use nuts, you don't want to drop these on your parents' nice hardwood floors, okay? You want to make sure that maybe you put a towel down or something that will protect the flooring from being scarred, by our science experiment. I don't need angry parents about their floors, guys, okay? So make sure you honor that. All right, if you don't have a 2-story house, a couple things you can do is ask a parent maybe to take you to the park if you're allowed to go outside and drop it from a play structure. You can ask a parent to help you and maybe use a ladder with supervision, right? So whatever you do, make sure you check it with your family and your parents first. All right, but then you're going to drop each one of your parachutes 3 different times. And on your lab sheet, you'll see it says test 1, test 2, test 3, right? So do those. Don't worry about the average column yet. We will work on that together in video number 2. So you're going to record and you're going to test all 3. For some reason, if your parachute doesn't open so you don't get to record the rate of falling, just retest it, okay? And let's see. All right, and then we're going to look at our results when we're done, and hopefully we can talk about them on Edmodo. If I can get Zoom set up within the next couple days, we can talk about it together on Zoom, or maybe next week when we follow up with each other. But hopefully this could be a fun experiment for you guys to do at home. If you have siblings, please feel free to share this with them. You guys can be learning together, and you might even help your mom and dad get a little break for a little while if you have younger siblings by having them help you with this, and they might think it's pretty fun. Like I said, some extensions that you can do on this experiment is you can try your hand at some slow motion videos on your smartphone. You can, once we've performed our experiment, you can add different things to the bottom and see how that affects the rate of falling. You can use these as parachutes for your minifigs or toys at home. You can maybe make something like this to go share with a neighbor or a friend, drop it on their doorstep if you have a neighbor that maybe has some smaller children, and that might really help them during this time, bring them some joy and some fun science learning. And then I will check back in with you guys tomorrow to see how your tests went, and I will perform my tests and share my results with you as well. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, remember, please feel free to contact me through Edmodo. That's a really good way. Or my phone number is on every email that I send out. Please feel free to text me, or you can email me. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys are all well, and I can't wait to get back in the classroom with you guys and see your smiling faces. Until tomorrow and next week.